So government can again provide a day school is a regular school and that's why I call it school of. Now, if that is the level of away from the, uncle or aunt, children in school, especially in a boarding school. 9, I decided that I am not going to do my father's friends or Calcutta.
We also had the same question.
So we used to carry our guns.
To be a school teacher because you are so fixed with that aim in it.
But I enjoy it.
Very passionate about
war ever since the Second World War, and that could be a no. He was not at all. He was a very innocent boy. When did the change come? What I read, he's sitting with the cobbler and he's sitting with the cup in their countries. Like there is a war, serious war between you of the BJP going in and the tandoori and today. I don't know you're a vegetarian or not, but and that is
The most romantic and also quite.
He's my friend.
Yeah, quite.
Of the Hindus and the Muslims cultural.
Hello everyone, and today we had a podcast with Dr. Sumer Bahadur Singh sir, who is the president of the Boarding Association of India, and we discussed about recent and current geopolitical issues like the Israel and Hamas war, and then we also talked about Rahul Gandhi's political journey, and as sir has taught him in school, we also get to know about his school life. Then we also discussed about French secularism and the recent abaya ban schools and a lot more things. So if you want to know about that, please watch the full video.
Also, we got to know about his school life, his experiences, his likes, his dislikes, and many more fun questions we had asked him. To get to know more about him, please do watch our full video.
Welcome to the 10th episode of Dalimss podcast. Today we have Dr. Sumer Bahadur Singh with us. Sir is the president of the Boarding School Association of India, former headmaster of Lawrence School, Sanawar. He is an educator, an artist, and an author. Sir, we are honored by your presence.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you, sir. My name is Jyotiraditya of Class 12 Commerce. And my name is Ashutosh Verma of Class 12 Humanities. Sir, so my first question is, sir, please tell us about your life at Doon School as a student.
Okay. I went to Doon School when I was 11 years old. Before that, I was in a preparatory school called Dalimss Preparatory School, which has now become a full school. And we had some very colorful characters on the staff because it was the effort of the headmaster who has started the school when my father was a student that there should be a miniature India in the school. Staff and students should come from all over the country. So it was we had all kinds of people there. And I found this very interesting because some of my teachers were Tamilians and some were Bengalis and some. I got influenced very strongly by a lot of my teachers, though I was also a rebel. I was not a very, I was a good student, but I was not a very obedient student. In fact, when I left school, the headmaster, I had come first in India, and he wrote in my report, very talented, I was very good at sports, and but finds it a problem to conform to discipline, to conform to the rules. And that's absolutely true. Because I used to go fishing and hunting also in school. Fishing was very, very much in my blood. I used to go, and whenever I got a chance on a Sunday or a weekend, one or two friends, we would go up out of the river, into the jungles, into the elephant area, and do fishing. And we never used to carry food. We used to just rely on whatever we would catch. I had my housemaster was an Everest person. He had led the Indian expedition to Nanda Devi. And he was a tall guy. He was a strong swimmer. And I remember when we had joined the school and we were all small little chaps, he said he'll take us for a picnic for the day. So we were very excited. And we walked with him. And he walked into the Ganges in the high reaches where it was cold and very strong, the current. And he just walked in and he swam across and he got up on the other side and he continued to walk. He didn't look back even once as to where are the kids, are they okay or not. He just went. And I found this very strange. Then when I was repeating this story, he just died a month ago. He was 99. And at the funeral, I was there and I was talking to the Maharaja Patiala's younger brother. I said, this is what he was like. And he said, yeah, he did the same thing to us. He was senior to me, this boy. He said he took us on the Jamna rafting. And when we were in the middle of the river, he took out his knife and he cut the rope so that the raft collapsed. And everyone had to swim. So, this was an era when there was no risk management. No, now schools have to be very careful that if there's an accident and the school gets the blame or any teacher is responsible, it can be a huge court case.
Yeah.
In those days, no one was bothered. And I took my students. There was a boy called Matrit Badal who later on was finance minister in Punjab. He was in my tutorial and he came and asked me, he said, sir, let's go cycling to Chandigarh. So that was 175 kilometers away. So I said, okay. And we went. We cycled to Chandigarh and back. Can't think of doing it now with all the traffic and the fast cars and the trucks and pollution. Pollution we don't have. Pollution we give to other people. In fact, pollution also is a strange thing because who is polluting Delhi, I really don't know. I know that in my area of the district where I am, we do not burn the crops. They say,
Stubble burning, no? The stubble
we don't. We don't. There is a machine which is called a super seeder. And that machine is a big machine. It gets dragged by a tractor. And it puts the stubble into the ground, lies it down and pushes it in. And behind the next unit has an injection system where you feed in the seed and you feed in the fertilizer. It injects into the holes that it makes a seed and a drop of fertilizer, a capsule of fertilizer, you can say. So that is what goes in. And you get a fantastic crop, and that stubble becomes, part of the manure that you're using to grow your crop. So it is not that Punjab is polluting Delhi, which is what they say. First of all, we've got the whole of Haryana between us and Delhi.
Supreme was said, I guess. Supreme Court said recently
What?
that Punjab needs to stop stubble burning.
Punjab will stop stubble burning when the government gives them some option. See, now the government is saying we are giving you compensation of 500 rupees an acre if you don't burn your stubble.
That is...
So what are they going to do? Either they should provide superseders on
new techniques,
social service or on cheap rent or something. Farmers will use it. They'll be happy. Now what is happening in the areas where there used to be stubble burning, they have got those rollers which make the bales of hay, which they sell. So they don't want to burn it now. So government can again provide incentives to get more balers, and there'll be no stubble burning. Anyway, good school, we had a great time. I ran an underground newspaper called the Suppressed Echo, and no one ever found out in the authority, the headmaster, or who was behind it.
They'll find out after listen to the spot.
He's dead.
Dark, okay.
So what happened? I was always keen on writing, but this was more defiance than writing. And there were 5 of us who were running this Suppressed Echo. And we were never personal against anyone, but it used to be a printed, magazine which used to come out every now and then. Children used to get very excited when they saw it. And also, I used to protest when I was I was a house captain when I brought out this Prosecco. But I used to also protest in other ways. Like, for example, my housemaster, he believed that no one should have hair longer than 1 centimeter. He himself was a Sardar who had cut his hair, but he now was very much in favor of very short hair. And the Beatles had come to Rishikesh next to Dehradun. My music teacher was teaching the Beatles. The Beatles learned how to play the sitar, and then they came out with the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. So we told the housemaster that we should keep slightly longer hair. He said no. So I said, okay, fine. So I shaved my head. Got the barber to shave my head, and the whole lot of line behind me of guys getting their heads shaved.
Okay.
So, of course, in the Hindus, they believe you don't do that unless... But we were not aware of that. We were just happily shaving, and there were some guys who kept their mohawk. Some guys kept Taras Bulba at the back. And then, So that's the kind of stuff that we got up to in school.
What was his reaction?
The reaction was actually quite mild, because they didn't know what to do with us.
Okay.
There was no rule against shaving. The rule was against long hair. So the headmaster in assembly the next day, he was an Englishman. He said, you are not allowed to shave your heads now because you might catch a cold.
Oh.
So that was, his way of dealing with it. But it was very, obviously, we had to then stop. And he allowed a little longer hair then after that. So,
We just won the battle.
I don't really won the battle, but we were not totally defeated.
Sir, I have one question related to a child's growth. So, how does staying in a boarding school affect a child's growth compared to a regular school-going student?
Now, that's a really strange way of putting it. You're calling it a regular school as opposed to a boarding school. It's like when we had gone to South Africa and we had these 2 tents where they were serving food to the people in the conference. They said vegetarians, also written on one, and the other one said for normal people. So what you are saying is, you are doing the same thing.
Okay.
You are saying for regular school, as well a day school is a regular school and a boarding school is some kind of...
to say that the students who stay with their parents, basically, the students who are in a boarding school,
What is the difference?
Their parents' growth and the child's growth.
And the child's growth. Okay. So, first of all, independence. The child becomes independent not only in dealing with situations and people, but he also becomes independent in studies. Because there is no option in, at least when I was in boarding school, we never heard of the term tuition. But these schools used to have people whose children used to go for tuition. So we had no tuitions. Now when you have no tuitions is like a crutch. You need that crutch to be able to pass an exam, to pass a test, and it becomes a habit. And for the rest of your life, you're always looking for a crutch to help you. Boarding school guys don't have a crutch. They have to stand on their own 2 feet. So self-confidence and independence is one thing. The second thing is that you make friends, and those friendships last for life. It doesn't matter what the father is doing. It doesn't matter how rich the friend becomes when you leave school and how poor you are. The friendships made there are forever. I'm not saying that day schools don't have good friendships, but you can't have the same level of friendship because you're not living together.
Yeah.
You are attending school together. The other difference, and when you have good friends, it's a meaningful relationship. It leads to happiness and long life, good health. That is one of the things which has been researched. Apart from that, opportunity. Now, I run an organization called School of Opportunity because after 45 years in dealing with children, I find that children are about the same everywhere. What is different about them is the opportunity that some get and the opportunity that others don't. And that's why I call it School of Opportunity. And I try and give opportunities for the development, leadership, and so on of the child. The other thing which helps with opportunity is that in a boarding school, the child is expected to do a lot of things which the day scholar goes wrong. So whether he's doing service in the school, how many games is he exposed to, how many hobbies are there available to him, all the other kind of things which are there in a boarding school means that he has more opportunity to discover his passion. Now, every person has a passion, but sometimes the passion is never discovered. You see, I may have a passion in a particular field, like let's say I have a passion in dramatics or debating. But in a school or a boarding school where there are thousands of children, there will be about 10, 15 or at the most 20 who will always be given the opportunity of being on stage and being debaters because they become known. They get branded as good debaters. The others don't get a chance. Now, I'm not saying the others are better, but I would like every single child in my school to be able to debate, to be able to go onto the stage. It doesn't matter whether you win or you lose. So I find that in boarding schools, there will be about 10 teams for debating. It's not the same team that goes everywhere. The objective is not to win. The objective is to expose children to that particular area so that they can grow as a human being. So there are all these considerations where in a boarding school, I have to look at every single child carefully and see what are his passions, what are his talents. Is the talent and the passion matching? Is he utilizing it? Is he getting enough time to develop it? If he is good in something, am I ready to excuse him other things and push him forward? Let him develop that talent. In a day school, how will I have the time to look at the kids? Because they come for class, they study and they go. I won't know them. I've seen day school principals. I've been sitting in their office and somebody has come in and said, I need to go for X, Y, Z reason I have to go. Can you excuse me? Can I go? And the principal says, fill in the paperwork and go. And I asked the principal, who's he? He said, I don't know who he is. He must be a teacher. If that is the level of communication between the staff and the head of the school and the students and so on, it's sad. So there are a lot of advantages in boarding. There's no doubt about it. And of course, I'm also saying it because I'm president of the Boarding Schools Association. I can't say that it's a bad thing. But what has happened is that there are now more and more good schools that are coming up. Day schools. Okay. In the cities and even in the small towns. So previously, there was no opportunity for parents to send a child to a good school where none existed. So they had to send them to boarding. Correct? No option. That was one reason. Then there are a lot of society has changed. There are a lot of families which have broken up. Divorces, deaths, whatever the reason is. And one parent may not be able to handle the responsibility. So an easy option is to send the child to boarding. Now, these are the negative aspects of why people are being pushed into boarding. And then, of course, even when the number of students who are coming from unhappy homes grows in proportion in a school, it impacts all the children. eventually what happens is that the children grow away from the family.
Yeah.
Now, that is the biggest disadvantage.
That happened a lot with a lot of my friends. उनके साथ हुआ है कि they really मतलब connection खत्म हो गया parents and kids का.
Absolutely. It's happened a lot. It's happened to me also. So what happens is that you become too independent.
Yeah.
And when you become so independent, then family is not so important.
That bond is absent then.
Secondly, boarding schools will not allow the child to go for every family function.
Yeah.
There are very strict rules on getting leave of absence. So if your immediate, uncle or aunt or brother or sister is getting married, you're given permission for 2 days or 3 days to go and attend the main function. But if it is a relative who is slightly away, like even in a joint family, boarding schools don't bother about joint families, and they don't understand how bonded people are. And then when they're not allowed to go, it impacts on the family relationships. And not everyone knows that they were not allowed to go. They think they didn't bother to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thing happens. And boarding schools now have changed their rules. They now allow children to go and attend their own parents' weddings because now their parents were remarrying. So we had to change the rules from uncle and aunt to and mother and father.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a side. But basically, that is the downside. So now it really depends on whether the family
And
can continue to have that relationship with the child, and during the holidays, make sure that the child meets all his aunts and uncles and grandmothers and grandfathers and cousins and so on. If that effort is there from the parent side, then the relationships can still survive. They will not flourish, but they can survive. Otherwise, yes, there is a downside, which is a sad aspect, because just as I said that your relationship with your friends can give you long life and good health, it is also the same for your family.
okay,
So that's the disadvantage.
thank you. Sir, मेरा एक question है. You are one of the most revered educators in modern India. You have achieved so much in your life. आप अपने आप को motivated कैसे करते हैं? So basically, to put his question into perspective, you have cleared all the levels of the game. You have completed side missions also. Now, what keeps you motivated to keep going?
Children,
Okay.
it's always been like that. See, when I was in class 9 in school, I had a history teacher who never taught us history. He was a rebel in his own. He was teaching us Indian history. He never opened the Indian history book. He only talked about African history. He said Indian history, so you learn. Now you learn about African history this year. And so from him, I learned that children in school, especially in the boarding school, they have all kinds of anxieties. They have all kinds of problems. And there's also bullying. Now, not everyone can stand the bullying. Some children are very sensitive, and it can impact them for life.
It's a serious problem now.
And then there are children who are being unfairly treated by a particular master, let's say. There is no parent to go to.
Okay.
Children have to make their own arrangements within themselves, within their friend circle. But there has to be someone on the staff who is there to listen to the children, and guide the children, and let the children know then what you are feeling right now. You think it's the end of the world, you're ready to kill yourself, you're ready to kill the teacher. It's nothing so serious. Look at it from a different perspective. You are you, and you can withstand all this and go above it. So you need someone to talk to you.
To understand you.
Yes. So that is what this gentleman was doing with us. So in class 9, I decided that I am not going to do anything else except become a school teacher. So when I decided I was going to become a school teacher, my parents thought it was a joke. Like every kid in my generation used to think I'm going to become an engine driver. I'm going to become a bandmaster. I'm going to... Doctor to आपका generation है. After generation where we were never so serious about what we were going to do. And then after some time you forget about it and you go into something else. So my parents also thought it's a passing phase. It's not to be taken too seriously. But when they realized that I was serious about it was when they had arranged my marriage to a princess. And in dowry I was getting a factory which did not exist in India at that time because of there was a system of licensing in Mrs. Gandhi's time. Unless you had a license issued from the government, you couldn't open a business. You couldn't do anything. So here I was getting this girl whom I liked very much. I knew her. And I was getting a factory which nobody else had. And it was all being paid for. And I could have then been the owner of the factory and I could have enjoyed the luxuries of life and given the duty also any comfortable home to live in. So I told my father, I said, I am not going to get married to someone you choose, and I am going to become a school teacher. And this poor girl, who is a friend, we spend Diwali together, we spend Holi together and all, we'll never be able to adjust on a salary which at that time used to be 375 rupees in Doon school a month, and in Sanawar was 420 rupees a month. So I said, I can hardly survive. My chowkidar, I'm paying more than that in the village. And how can I expect a girl from that background to come and live on my salary? So I'm not getting married and I'm becoming a school teacher. So he said, okay, put your checkbook on the table, sign away all the property that your grandfather has given you, you put the car keys on the table and go. And don't bother to come back unless you change your mind. So that was it. It was my determination that I wanted to be a school teacher and I was going to get married to someone of my choice. So I then got my education better than what I got in Doon School and St. Stephen's. Because I had no money. I couldn't get a job. When I finally got a job, I realized that the salary will come after 30 days. You don't get your salary and your job. But then I was quite stupid. I thought once I've got a job, I'll be okay. But then I'm not, And so I know that I used to eat, the pav roti is? So I should get one pav roti for myself in the morning and one in the evening, and that's all that I had. And if I passed the fruit shop and I smelled a mango, I used to think, yeah, one day I'll have you. Today I can't, but one day I will.
Dreaming.
So it was, for me, an education that I could live on nothing. And the people whom I thought were my father's friends or people whom I knew and who would have given me a job, who were the managing directors of companies and all. I was in Calcutta at that time. Suddenly found that they didn't really know me. So I understood human nature for the first time. I was living in a sheltered life in Doon School where you were in a cocoon. You didn't know what was happening outside in the world. Suddenly that exposure came. And then I got a job in Sanawar. First I got a job in Calcutta. Then my father was in corporate life. So he phoned the chairman or the owner of the company who then told me, you want a promotion or you want to go out? So I said, I'm going out. So I left, and fortunately I got a job in Sanawar at the same time. And I told the headmaster of Sanawar, I said, in case you're going to come under pressure, please tell me now. Don't. He said, I am the headmaster, ye wo flana. Then when the time came, he said, sir, why don't you rethink this whole thing? I said, I talked to you then. You didn't say anything, so now let's leave it. So I was determined to be a school teacher, not because I wanted the money or anything. Then my Taya died, my father's elder brother, and he had no children. So he left everything to me. And I said, no, I will not take anything just now. Let his wife, let his widow have it. And then if she wants to give it to me, she can give it to me. But because he had died and we had a lot of land, we had lost 500 acres of land within 4 months. So she told me, she said, you have to come because there's no male from the family here. People are not taking the female seriously, and my nephew is not from our family, and you have to come and sort this out. So I went to the village. I found that unless you had political connections or money, you couldn't do anything. So I stood for elections. And I fudged my age because you have to be 25 years old to stand for election. I was 23 years old. So I stood for the election of a marketing processing society, cooperative society for 102 villages. And I won 5 out of 6 seats. I formed my own party. I have never joined a party in my life. I had formed my own party. I had someone from the Congress, someone from the BJP, not BJP was not in the picture then, it was Akalis, Congress, the Marxist Communist Party, and one guy who had some influence as a farmer, he was a sarpanch, and one actor who had failed in Bombay, had come back, but had no chance of attracting any votes, but he could speak English. So I wanted someone I could speak English. So I couldn't speak Punjabi. I won this election in Punjab without knowing Punjab and never having lived there. So that was when I was able to get the land back, give it to my aunt and say, now look after it. I'm off. And I went back to teaching. And that was when I started getting pressurized by politicians. Okay. Because when I won this election without joining a party at 102 villages, so the first person who came to see me was a lady called Sadhna Prashar, who was a friend of Indira Gandhi's and was the MLA in Nangal. So she then went to Indira Gandhi and said that there's this young guy who's not member of any party and he's won this election. You should grab it. So Indira Gandhi called me. So I explained to her, I said, I'm interested only in teaching and not in this. She said, we'll make you education minister if we form the government. I said, I don't want to be education minister.
I want to be
a teacher. So she understood. She was that kind of lady. She said, fine, I wish you all the best and keep in touch. But then Sanjay Gandhi called me through the day saying I had no choice but to go and see him. And he was not the kind of guy who accepted no as an answer.
A very ruthless person.
Yeah, he told me, you are now the president of the Youth Congress in Punjab. I said, I'm not interested in politics. With difficulty, I managed to get away from that particular situation. And then from the Akalis, the leader of the Akalis was Mr. Prakash Singh Badal. He arrived at my house. And he said, you have to become the education minister. If you don't want to join the Akalis, stand as an independent. We will still make you the minister in our government. And I knew they were going to win. But I had a tough time explaining to him that I want to be a teacher. Now, whereas Mrs. Gandhi understood it very easily. This guy had lived in a village all his life. For him to be offered ministership meant a very different life than. So he decided in his mind that I was not with him, I was against him. Okay. I went off to Doon school and started teaching, and he made my life miserable as far as the land was concerned. But can really trouble you. He came and met me 22 years later when I was living in Gurgaon. And he said, I think I treated you very badly. I said, you did. He said, but it's not my fault, it's your fault. So I said, how is it my fault? He said, yeah, I can't understand. You have a choice of a job as a school teacher and you have a choice of being the education minister. What kind of guy, wants to go and become a school teacher?
Was what Aston Singh did. Yeah. We all had the same question.
So I said, look, from class 9, I'm quite glad I want to be a school teacher. And this is the reason why I want to be. And I said, you may not be aware of it, but I've taught your daughter also. So he said, I'm teaching our nephew now. I said, you be happy that you got a person who wants to teach rather than someone who's not got a job and therefore comes and becomes a teacher. So he then told me, he said that I want you to come and now become a minister and be the advisor to the government.
Okay.
So I said, minister, I don't want to be. I'll be a secretary in the government. I'd rather be with the bureaucrats than the ministers. And so for 3 years, I worked without a salary, without any compensation. I worked for the Punjab government. And I started the first education cess in India to be able to raise money. So 1 rupee on every bottle of liquor I used to collect by way of tax. And with that money, we did a lot of things. Yeah. So good school was a good ground for me to grow up in. But I think my experience in Calcutta in poverty and my experience in the village in dealing with peoples who are totally different to the people I used to meet in school or I used to meet at home with my parents. My father was a director at ITC and in Britannia and in Godfrey Phillips, and he was a big shot in his own way. So he had a different crowd of people.
Sir, you had many exhibitions on oil canvas. Please tell us about your artistic process. मतलब आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं पेंटिंग के थ्रू?
मैं कुछ कहने नहीं चाहता, मैं इतना पहुंचा हुआ नहीं हूँ. What happened was that I had a good art teacher. He never influenced me. He let me paint whatever I wanted to paint. I used to enjoy painting. I was in college in Delhi University in St. Stephen's. And my pocket money was 150 rupees a month, which was a lot of money in those days.
Okay.
I used to go, for weekends, I used to go hunting to Jaipur with my friends. 4 of us used to get into the Indian Airlines. It was in those days called Indian Airlines. We used to get into the Indian Airlines plane and we used to go for our shooting, partridge. And there was no such thing as terrorists.
Okay.
And so we used to carry our guns. We used to carry our cartridges and get into the plane. Have a bottle of whiskey with us. Ask the air hostess for ice and soda. She used to give it. And we used to have a whiskey. The car used to come right up to the aircraft. The jeep, we used to get into that and go up for a shoot. Come back. The round trip on students' concession was 100 rupees. So, I don't know what it is now. So, I had this 150 rupee pocket money. But I was also a little used to spending a little more. Then I had this first exhibition of mine. And my painting started selling at between 5,000 and 7,000 rupees a painting.
Oh, see.
So, that price is fixed by the gallery people. So I said, wow, yeah, this is really good. Really good. It's a great source of income. And so I used to paint, but I never painted when I was teaching.
Okay.
See, I was in Doon school for 11 years as a teacher. I was in Sanawar for 7 years. I was in Daily College for 13, 14 years. During this period, I never painted.
After that?
In between.
Okay.
Because if I painted when I was the head of a school, all my paintings would sell. But why they would sell, I wouldn't know. Whether the parent is wanting me to be nice to his kid, or because I'm his kid, our headmaster that he's buying the paintings, or whether he really likes the painting. You see, so I never used to have any exhibitions in between. The only time when I had an exhibition in Daily College was in fact a very strange exhibition because I was a trustee in the Indore Cancer Foundation. And they had asked me to design a new hospital for them. So one of my students had a big hospital, so I got his architect to design it. Otherwise, the architect was asking for some huge amount of money. So that was done. Then they said, now you give us a donation. So I said, look, I'm not able to give you a big donation, but I'm a teacher and I'm not a They said, no, you give it. I said, how much do you want? They said, 5 lakhs. So I said, okay, I'll give you. They said, you give us 2 or 3 of your paintings, we'll auction them. I said, no one in Indore is going to pay even 100 rupees for a painting. That's Indore for you. I don't know what this place is like, Varanasi. Varanasi, I saw all these poor artists who, the stone carvers and all, they're all on the roadside waiting for someone to come and buy it. Good stuff they're producing. It's sad. So anyway, I told them I'll give them 5 lakhs, but I won't give them paintings because it won't work. So what I did was, and I don't know whether I should say this in this podcast, but I hope no one comes and kills me. But I said, okay, the easiest way of making money, because this money is not going to go into my pocket. So I told the Indore Cancer Foundation that when I have the exhibition, because I had built an exhibition all in Delhi College, so it was easy to have it there. I said, then your guy will come and sit at the desk there, collect the money, issue the ATG certificate. I'm not going to touch the money. I don't have anything to do with it. So they said, fine. So what I did was that I looked at the phone every morning. And I saw all the parents who were very wealthy and who had wives who were fairly pretty.
Okay.
And I made their paintings. So I used to make 3 paintings every morning. Watercolors. I had never done watercolors before. And I made 55 paintings. And I invited them for the evening, cheese and wine. They had no idea that there was a painting of their wife there. So they arrived, and the wives were very happy. I'm not saying every painting was great, but most of them were good painting. And the wives were very happy. Painting. Price was fixed, 10,000 rupees. And it was explored that 5,000, out of the 10,000 rupees, you are going to get 5,000 rupees income tax benefit. And the cost has been 1,000 rupees to make it, the frame and the whatever. So actually you're paying 4,000 rupees for your wife's portrait. Good deal. So we were expecting that 50 people would come in and we'd get 5 lakhs, 5 paintings, extra banana. A very interesting thing started happening. Some of the wives got upset with their husband.
Come.
Yeah, and really a cheap chap. You were only going to pay 10,000 rupees for my portrait, and that also for the Cancer Foundation. At least pay 50,000 rupees.
So that's a fire idea. Master, I'm so bored to come. As a student artist, I feel kind of inspiration. It makes you so funny.
And so we were able to raise the 5 lakhs without a problem, much more than that in fact. So I've never been a serious artist. Let me tell you, I have had a very good offer from Sir Kenneth Clark, who's the leading critic in the world. He said, you come and live with me for a year in England, make paintings, and I need to know from you, who have got your paintings already, I'll buy them all. And then I release paintings. I'll come and buy them at the exhibition that I organize for you without anyone knowing I've done it. I buy all your paintings at price I decide. So you don't get anything out of this really. But after that, because I bought your paintings, your name is going to be there. Then you make your own money. Okay. So I explained to him, I said, I'm committed to be a school teacher. I don't want to become an artist. So
Scientists, I can feel that you have left lots of options just to be a school teacher because you are so fixed with that aim.
And I enjoy it.
Very passionate about teaching.
But I enjoy it. Why should I not do what I enjoy? And look at it. What were the schools like when I was in school as a school teacher in the beginning? We used to have 2 months of holidays in the summer and 2 months of holidays in the winter. And I used to go with my wife and my dog everywhere. We used to have, their holidays. Then you come back for term, your food you're eating in the dining hall. At least for the last 10 days of the month, you weren't about to eat at all, so you ate it in the dining hall. And you played games. and you were given a duty to take the children fishing or something. Come on, these were things I wanted to do. So I was very happy.
Now I want to shift a little from the type of questions you're asking.
Sure.
So I really want to know how do you predict the recent Hamas and Israel conflict?
You know, what happened was that, you see, I follow current affairs very, very much so, because apart from anything else, I'm interested, but also when groups come to me from schools, school children come to me for my boot camp, one of the talks I give is on geopolitics. So I need to keep in touch with all that. And I know that there are three lobbies in America which control everything: the arms lobby, the pharmaceutical lobby, and the Jewish lobby. And I could see that the war in the Ukraine was coming to an end. It was one-sided. There would be no Ukrainians left to fight also. So they had to fight another war, because the United States arms lobby has found a war ever since the Second World War. They have had wars all over the world where arms have been sold, whether it's to the American army or whether to other people. And then they have created conflicts in Africa and so on and so forth, where they supply arms to both sides. So arms is a big business in America. And I was trying to figure out that after this war peters out, are they going to go to Taiwan? They can't go to Taiwan unless China makes a move. And China is not likely to make a move right now because it's moving its semiconductor business into Vietnam. So where are they likely to go? And where are they likely to go where the American government will track one of the two sides? And that was the place was Israel. And who is the common enemy? Was Iran.
Yeah.
So somehow they had to, my prediction was not correct. My prediction was that they would use Iranian missile material and let it be found near Israel, and that would be enough to create a war. So Israel was my target for that reason, that it's a Jewish country, it has the Jewish lobby behind it. The American government cannot exist without the Jewish lobby, it cannot exist without the arms lobby. But I never thought of this Hamas at Israel. But it also makes sense because you have the trade route which China is working on, the road and belt thing, and India is not supporting it because it goes through Indian territory in occupied Kashmir and in other parts also. They have about 50,000 square kilometers of Indian territory apart from Pakistan is with China. So two areas, if they had accepted this route, then they're accepting that those guys are the owners of that land. So then India worked out with some other countries a different route, which is a shorter, cheaper route, and it competes with the Chinese route. And the Chinese leader has staked his entire reputation on this road. So it wouldn't have worked out if there had been peace. So for the Chinese also, it made good sense to create some kind of a problem there. Now, there's no hand of the Chinese which we can see right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is some
Is there a possibility कि जहाँ ये conflict चल रहा है वो लोग ताइवान वाला conflict भी साथ चालू कर दे? Because they know कि Russia has attacked Ukraine and Russia मतलब उतना ज़्यादा कुछ असर आया नहीं Russia के ऊपर, and then now Israel and Hamas वाली war चल रही है, तो क्या वो third front खोलना चाहेंगे global?
See, it's speculation, but Russia doesn't want Ukraine. Russia wants a barrier between NATO and itself. So they are not interested in taking over Ukraine except for the Russian-speaking areas of Ukraine, which is a small area. China is quite capable of attacking Taiwan when America is involved in a war elsewhere. But right now, America is not involved. Right now, America has moved its ships and its aircraft carriers close to Israel. But they haven't yet gone to war. If America goes to war, nothing is going to stop China from taking Taiwan.
सर ये सब कहाँ जा रहा है? वो वर्ल्ड वॉर 3,
World War III. World War III is what it looks like.
न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स एंड ये सारी चीजें जितनी, मतलब न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स इज द रीजन कि लोग वॉर नहीं कर रहे हैं. फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम ये रीजन था.
That's see, the strongest nuclear power in the world is Russia, and Russia has no desire to use nuclear weapons. Israel has sacked one minister for saying that they should use nuclear weapons. Yeah, so Israel doesn't seem to be in a mood to use nuclear weapons. America is not in a mood to. India is not in a mood to. France and Britain are not in a mood to. But anyone who is at the receiving end and is in danger of losing a big battle would be the person who would say, why not? And that could be a very strong country is Turkey.
Yeah.
And they have already been promised by Pakistan through a treaty that if you are in a war, you can use our nuclear weapons. Okay, so that is where the danger could be. But he's also a very smart guy. He's really like Putin. He's a very smart guy, not like Biden, who's doesn't know what he's doing.
So, there's one more question which I wanted to ask. It's related to your teaching experience. How was your experience teaching Mr. Rahul Gandhi? And what do you think about his political journey?
So basically, Rahul Gandhi, when I was teaching him, he was 11 years old. So you can't judge a person on the basis of what he was at that age. But I knew his parents well, and so I knew the family. I used to meet Rahul Gandhi on weekends or Sundays, at least once or twice a month at the common my old teacher's house. And Rahul Gandhi was a very sensitive boy. He was a very good chap and intelligent, but very sensitive. He was different. He was more into nature. He was more into thinking about things. So he was in that way different to most of the guys who were.
He was not cunning, or he wasn't.
No. He was not at all. He was a very innocent boy, a very nice boy. There was no. When his grandmother was killed, then he was taken away because Doon School does not allow any boy to have a protective guard. So then he had to be moved to Delhi. So he moved out. After that, his mother came and met me in Indore and told me that he wants to become a software engineer. He wants to open a company for software. And please help him. So at that time, she was also ready to let him do what he wanted to do.
Okay.
But for some reason, which I have never discovered, I suspect things, but I don't know for sure, that she decided that Priyanka is not the person to push into politics, but Rahul is.
Oh, cool.
And Rahul was certainly a very reluctant politician. He had no interest in politics. He had no talent for politics. He was, always saying the wrong things because people were telling him what to say. He was not thinking for himself. And he was actually coming out quite poorly in the whole situation, especially with the BJP, the whole Pappu thing that was going on. Who named him Pappu, do you know?
No, sir.
No? Someone who's in the Congress now and close to it.
Someone who's in Congress now, okay.
He used to open the batting for India.
Sidhu.
Sidhu is the guy who quite...
Actually, Navjot Singh Sidhu's daughter used to study with me in Singapore.
Yeah?
So I've met him once.
But
he was really fun. जैसा लगता है टीवी पे ना, मतलब really fun and so उसी type पे.
So okay, he was not a successful politician.
Politics was not in his soul.
Not at all. And then when did the change come? What I noticed, the change that came in him was when he was expelled from the Lok Sabha.
Mm-hmm.
The minute he was expelled from the Lok Sabha and he was kicked out of his house, he was a changed man because he now had no responsibilities. He gave the presidentship of...
It was a recently...
he gave the presidentship of the Congress to a person who's a scheduled caste person, and that gave him brownie points. That guy'd always listen to what he says, but he's, that's the way it is. And now he had no responsibilities. He was not the president, he was not a member of the Lok Sabha, and suddenly there was a huge change in him. And he started enjoying life.
And he was also somewhere he keeps posting videos.
Now he's enjoying life. I'm doing this Yatra, Bharat Yatra, whatever he did.
Bharat
Jodo Yatra. He had got on to something which has got the BJP really worried because he's become very popular in a very large area.
Yeah.
And he's being seen as a common man's friend. He's sitting with the cobbler and he's sitting with the carpenter and he's sitting with the dhabawala. And so he's managed to project himself in a very different way to when he was being tutored how to project himself. Now he's not bothered. Now he's actually come into his own.
Different person.
And now that he's come into his own, the chances are that I'm not saying he's going to be a brilliant politician. I don't think he's made out to be a politician. But he'll suddenly become very popular. And that is because he's enjoying it. You can only do this kind of thing when you're enjoying
In his own steps.
Yeah.
In a real life. Yeah, people started having a soft corner for Rahul Gandhi now.
Yeah.
So don't you think कि राहुल गांधी सर को अपने आप को प्रूव करने के लिए उनको पहले कहीं जैसे स्टेट इलेक्शन में एज अ सीएम कैंडिडेट पहले आना चाहिए एंड देन इफ ही सक्सेसफुल एज अ सीएम ऑटोमेटिकली लोग पीएम की तरह को देखने लगे लाइक मोदी जी को सबने किया.
But you see, the Congress doesn't function like that. They can't take the risk of putting a Gandhi into a position where he may be embarrassed and lose. It is always in a position where you are not, you don't have a confrontation. You just stay in the background. And then people follow the Gandhis not because of what they are doing, but because of the name.
Yes,
And what they stand for. And then they are not competing directly with someone for chief ministership. They're promoting someone for chief minister.
So since India's independence, who do you think was the best education minister till now? Yeah.
Very difficult to say. I know that Chagla was a very good minister, but then I don't know all of them. So I didn't know all of them. Radhakrishnan types of people, I didn't know them. So it's very difficult for me to pass judgment on something.
I'm not really sure on this. Okay, so you went to France?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about the French secularism and the recent abaya ban in schools? France is getting very strict with the religious display. They, banned
France and England and Greece. These countries have messed up very badly. The refugees who have come in are from the countries which they controlled. You see, they were colonial powers. Now, if you take France as a colonial power, it looked after or conquered or whatever you want to call it, exploited some countries in, let's say, Africa.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
That when in Africa there is a problem and the country is in a mess and the people want to get out of the country and go somewhere, where are they going to go? They're going to go to France because they know French. You've taught them French. You've taught them about that country. They'll migrate there. Whether they go was it legally or they go illegally, that's where they go to that. If you have a British-speaking colony, they will head up to Britain or maybe to Canada, but they prefer to go to Britain if they can. So these colonial powers have actually created the desire in other countries for people to come to them. And now that they are coming to them, they can't handle it because they can't handle it because of the population growth that takes place.
Population.
And they can't handle it because these guys don't have the qualifications. So they become a burden on the government.
It's also conflict of culture, the conflict of the way of lifestyle there is between the French and the people who are migrating to France.
It's not a difference in cultural thing because their background is of a French culture in their countries. Like we have a British culture here, they have a French culture there. So I don't think it's the cultural thing that matters. What is happening is that there is a study being done recently that any country which has any of the non-Muslim countries which gets a Muslim population of 18% or more is one day going to become a majority Muslim country because of the number of children that the Muslims have and the number of children that other people have. And especially in Europe where the fertility rate is quite low, people are not getting married anymore and so on and so forth. So the danger is long-term, that is the danger. But right now what is happening? Look at Britain. Britain has got parts of Britain which are infested with Muslim migrants. They are insisting on the Sharia law being followed. They don't accept the British law.
Sure.
And
their law.
And the police is too scared to go into these areas. So, I mean, when something like that starts happening, I've seen the French, refugees reacting in a riot. I was there then, and I was there in Greece. So what is happening is that the countries in Europe which have allowed, I think Poland is the only one which has not allowed it.
Poland has become they have strict policies.
So the others, they're going to lose their heads of state are going to lose their next election. So every Macron is going to do was
we cannot see it also. Like the Prime Minister, next election is over. The Prime Minister of UK is someone of Indian origin. The First Minister of Scotland, Hamza Yusuf, is a Pakistani origin. And the parts of London has been called, mini Pakistan, mini India. We never fight. So there's been a major issue regarding this.
London made is Pakistani.
There was one lady who was very known in London and she called London Londonistan. In recent day it will be.
So क्या करना चाहिए इस चीज़ के लिए? Because जो आपकी concern है, it is everywhere. Online भी आप चले जाए, Reddit पे आप चले जाए, everyone's talking about this only. कि यूरोप में ये प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. And now क्या प्रॉब्लम होती है कि अगर आप एक कंट्री से दूसरी कंट्री जा रहे हैं, आप वहाँ के रूल्स फॉलो करो ना. आप अपने रूल्स क्यों वहाँ पे डालना चाह रहे हो? इसको क्यों आप अपने देश जैसा बनाना चाह रहे हैं?
Country which has made that very clear is New Zealand, Australia. They are very clear. They say you either follow our rules or get out.
So क्या करना चाहिए?
But now these political parties trying to show that they are democratic and secular and so on have weakened themselves tremendously. And it's now not going to be easy to reverse it. And what is going to happen now is that if there is a war, serious war between Israel and, let's say,
Iran?
No, the Muslim countries of that area. They're all going to come together. The Shias and the Sunnis are all going to come together. And when that war takes place, like what has happened with the massacre of the people in Palestine, the Hamas, because of their attack, the retaliation. See, previously the world's opinion was that Hamas is wrong. Hamas should not have done this.
But
Now they are saying that Hamas ne jo kiya wo to bhul jao. Look at what these guys are doing. They killed 5,000 people out of...
One such thing, Israel has killed more people than 9/11 Pearl Harbor combined.
5,000 people they've killed out of it.
Children and women, basically civilians.
Children and women are about 1,500. And the thing is that the reaction is taking place where? In England, in France, in countries where there are Muslim populations, they are reacting.
Yeah, they're taking protests
And their protests right now are not violent. But
Yeah.
you see, if there's a war escalates in that part of the world, it'll get violent. So then every country that has got Muslim population, which is the largest Muslim population country in the world,
Indonesia.
Indonesia, and then after that comes India.
India, okay.
India has somehow managed to not have this problem so far. So if it carries on like this, great. But there are other countries where they have not been able to handle it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying handle the Muslims, but handle the conflict
Yeah.
which takes place on religious grounds. India has never had a religious...
Extreme ideology is basically...
Yeah, India has always been a country which has absorbed all religious ideology.
Yeah, on...
Without any...
Actually.
So hopefully that continues, and then we'll be okay.
Yeah.
But the world is not going to be okay. The world is heading towards more and more conflicts. South China Sea is one area where there's going to be a problem. There are some areas in Africa which are a problem.
Yeah.
Germany's economy has almost collapsed because of the sanctions and the lack of energy. And Europe as a whole is now going to suffer because they can't keep their homes warm in the winter. So there's going to be a lot of resentment.
Okay.
And that only two countries are okay out of this whole thing. US is doing well and Russia is doing well. And they've ruined everyone.
So I don't get it. A man of your stature and knowledge, आप politics क्यों नहीं join करते? You are the perfect person to join politics.
No, I don't like politics.
Really, followers like you, आप क्यों नहीं करते? And you have the opportunity. ऐसा नहीं, कुछ लोग चाहते हैं करना, they don't have opportunity. कुछ लोग चाहते हैं करना, they don't have the enough clout जिसको कहते हैं कि जाके politician बन जाए, or enough contacts. You have everything.
I have no interest in being a politician because I have that 1 year that I was in the village when I fought this election.
Is it?
Every morning at 5 I used to meet people. Every evening at 5 I used to meet people. And in between I used to take them in my jeep to the Chief Minister in Chandigarh, to the collector in Ropar. My entire time was spent doing work for other people. I couldn't charge them because that would have been a wrong thing to do. And the result was that my own farm was totally neglected and my family was neglected. So I want to be a good family person. I don't think politicians, the only person I know who was a good family person and a politician was Rajesh Pilot. Others they give away too much time to other people. And especially in the rural areas. In the cities you can still make excuses. So I have no desire to get into that at all. I was also offered advisor to Prime Minister, advisor to Internal Security Minister. I don't want to live in Delhi. I have no desire to live in Delhi. What happened? So you should give permission. You spend half your day on the road, yeah. Traffic is so why should I do that? I'm living in a village. I'm happy.
Very much, and there in your life only that there's one aim in one direction, that is CJ. And if we add more than advisor, so you're very dedicated.
Actually, teaching may not be the best definition.
Okay.
It's I enjoy being with children and helping them. और teach करना होता है बीच में तो teach भी कर लेते हैं.
So we really like the company of students.
I like the company and I think I can help them.
Okay.
And become what more of their potential, achieve more of what they can achieve. They sometimes don't know where to go, what to do. It's like where you go to college. What subjects should you take? Which job should you go for? So
proper guidance.
So I'm doing that even now. I'm the placement chairman for Doon School. So I look at all that. Yeah.
So one more question. What do you think about the recent NCRT changes? It's because NCRT has been widely studied by children and also the people who prepare for their entrances. And any change in NCRT is gonna heavily impact the students and the people who are going to give entrance exams. What do you think about this?
No, what changes are you talking about? The new education policy or the NCRT?
NCRT.
So which changes?
Changes बताओ ना, you were telling me changes.
So there are changes in textbook like, removing of the Mughal history and more focusing on the Indian history. Then there has been change to introduce class.
History is also Indian history.
Yeah, I know. But still, I don't know what to say here because it is considered that it's basically invading history or whatever.
It's not. See,
Well,
please understand the difference. The British came to India,
Yeah.
they exploited India,
Yeah.
and then they left.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are colonizers.
Yeah.
The Mughals came to India,
Yeah.
and they lived in India, and they became Indian, and they never took any money out.
Exactly. Yeah. This is part exactly what.
The biggest colonizers without exploitation were the South Indians, the Cholas, who moved into Southeast Asia, and all these Southeast Asian countries were ruled by them. They were merchants. They were princes also, but a lot of them were rich merchants. And those cultures are still following the Ramayana and Bali as Hinduism and all. But they never brought money back from there. So Mughals cannot be called invasion, colonial. They were very much part of India.
Yeah.
Very much part of India. And I'm very happy that they came.
I guess this retaliation is because of what is socially did to India,
No. Nothing like.
Oh.
This is a extreme right view of the BJP going in for the Hindu vote. That's it. And before that, it was the Congress going in for the communist thinking, where economic history is more important than anything else.
Okay.
So the Congress went extreme one side, the BJP is going extreme the other side.
Yes.
We'll find a middle path. So the reform India is very, very good at that.
Yeah.
But no, there was no exploitation by the Mughals. In fact, I am very happy the Mughals came because there was no good food in India. Yeah. It was really sad food we had here. We didn't have chilies. We didn't use the spices. We didn't have all these pulaus and biryanis and kebabs and
Yeah.
the tandoori and
We have different cultures coming, so we have new cuisines, new invention.
we have the best food today. I don't know if you're a vegetarian or not vegetarian, but see, your best food is Mughlai food.
Okay.
And that is because they came, thank God. Yeah, they came. There were no tandoors in India.
In case of food, yes, we get 10 less. Yeah,
The food is very important.
food is very important.
It was like the bread.
But again, the culture, they gave us very beautiful things which are very long lasting, like Urdu language, we can say. It's one of the most romantic and also, poetic language. Then we have
You use it when you talk to your girlfriend?
no, it doesn't have one.
How do you know?
Quiet is my friend. Yeah, quiet. Let's get this. Let's love this part. Okay.
No, I tell you that it's like the language, the fusion of the Hindus and the Muslims culturally. A lot of things happen because of until Aurangzeb came. When Aurangzeb came, he was a Qatar Muslim and he wouldn't allow music, he wouldn't allow painting.
Yeah.
So when he stopped the painting in the Mughal courts, the painters moved to all the different kingdoms
Yeah.
in Rajasthan, in Himachal, and started different schools of art.
Yeah.
Music, it's a fact. When he saw a funeral procession going by, he stopped and he said, who's died? And they said, music. In your land, music. And he said, make sure it's buried deep.
Oh.
So he was a guy who created, a
If
reaction.
we see in the political history, he was very much responsible for the decline of Mughal Empire.
Of course.
When he got the throne, the Mughal Empire was peak. The Mughal Empire was generating 25% of the world economy, and we were earning more than 10% more than the French ruler. that when Bernier traveled here and all those conspiracies were happening, he was writing all the degenerations about Indians.
We had 25% of the GDP of the world. England had 5%.
Yeah.
When the English left, England had 25% of the GDP and we had 5%.
Yeah.
That's the simple way of putting it.
Okay.
Hopping into the...
Yes, sir.
How are you going?
So this is not this is actually our podcast.
Okay, sir. Enough of serious questions. Let's have a fun, rapid session with you.
Sure.
With all your due permission, sir.
Is rapid fire then कहाँ से कॉपी करिए कौन से show
Sir, let's do something new. Okay, sir. So I'll ask you some questions and आपको उसको 1 से 2 words में आपको
वो बाइक उधर कर दो
reply देना है. Okay.
1 to 2 words. That's very easy. I have to just say yes or no.
No.
No, sir, not that type. Like, basically, we'll get on that type. So the first question for you is, what is your most strongly held belief?
Difficult one. I think one should not harm anyone and one should help whoever one can.
Indeed, sir. The next question is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
India.
Wow. Which superpower would you choose? Invisibility or mind reading?
yeah
They're very interesting, yeah.
ये सब unscripted है साहब
I don't.
कुछ I कॉपी कैसे करना है
I think I'd love to be invisible when I wanted to. Mind reading, I don't want. I would not like to be able to read people's minds. I'll go crazy with all the horrible things they're thinking about me.
Oh. So the next question is, organized to the smallest detail or controlled chaos? Are you someone who is so organized even to the smallest detail? या आप ऐसे की controlled chaos type की नहीं?
No, I am very, very organized.
Okay. Now
I have to be a school teacher. I have to be.
you have to choose between freedom or money.
Freedom.
So, sir, you have to describe yourself in just 5 words. Your main qualities, if you are describing yourself.
I guess I'm a man. I'm old.
No, sir, that would be an adjective. But we want some quality of yours. If you are describing it to someone else.
Okay. I like people. I enjoy younger people more than... not that I don't enjoy older people, but I prefer younger people. I feel young also then. And I love sport. I've always played sport. I love reading and I love writing. I think I've covered it.
Yes, sir. Fiction or non-fiction books?
Total fiction I read. Writing is not fiction.
Favorite cuisine?
Chinese.
Classic literature or contemporary fiction?
Contemporary fiction. I only read fiction. I read to escape reality. Just put it.
Action-packed thriller movies or mysterious novels?
I don't watch movies, but...
Any movie.
oh,
Any fictional world you want to live in? What will it be about?
fictional world. Wow. I think women would have to be there. Dogs would have to be there. I think nice fruit trees would have to be there. A nice brook with fish in it would have to be there. So that kind of...
Sir, what do you enjoy most? Visiting historical landmarks or museums?
I enjoy both. So but if you make me take a choice, then I'll go with the landmarks.
Okay, music or podcast? And if music, what genre?
Yeah, supposing I don't say music, then the second part of the question I don't have to answer.
and then sir का favorite Dalimss podcast watch
I am technologically challenged. Okay, you must understand that. So this is only the second podcast I didn't, but the last time someone asked me about a month ago, 2 months ago for a podcast, I had no idea what it was. Okay, and so this is only the second one. I don't have a computer. I can type with one finger. I write books with one finger, but technologically I'm very challenged. I can't do anything even on my phone. I don't know how to buy something from Amazon, for example. But somehow I always find someone who does it for me, so that's okay. I'm a director in one of the leading IT technology companies, which has offices in USA and Germany and Dubai and so on. But I don't have a computer. So they are very, very upset with me that what kind of advertising do you do for that company? Yeah.
But sir, music or podcast? Answer. I'm really interested.
Music.
What genre?
Yeah, genre, pata nahi. I like Leonard Cohen. You've never heard of him. Have you? No. He's a poet who sings his poetry like John Dylan, like Bob Dylan. And his one book is very interesting. There are only 3 characters in this book. One character died over 100 years ago. One character has just died.
Okay.
Only one of the characters is alive.
Okay, sir.
Difficult enough to write an essay.
If you could have a conversation with a famous painting, which one would it be?
Any of either Raja Ravi Verma's or Amrita Shergill's paintings. I think Amrita Shergill's paintings.
Frida Kahlo of India, Amrita Shergill.
Yeah, can you imagine her nephew gave me a gift of Amrita Shergill, and I got so touched, but I returned it. And then recently I read that one of her paintings sold for 85 crores. I said, wow, what a fool I am. But
Amrita Shergill, let's say if you bring buying it an artist in India.
Okay, sir. Mental strength or physical strength?
Mental.
If you could travel back in time and witness one historical event, what would it be?
I think I'd like to see the war between Porus and Alexander.
And one language you would like to learn?
Spanish.
What's the most unusual job you have ever heard of?
That pass.
Podcaster मुझे लगा बोलेंगे.
Sir, I would like to know any funny incident of your childhood.
My childhood was all funny, yeah.
Anyone you think that it's the most hilarious incident?
I think one of the hilarious incidents was when, when I was small, I was 7 years old. My brother was 3 years old. And my father gave my brother a pet of a tiger cub and gave me a pet of a black Himalayan sloth bear. And I had no control over it at night. I used to sleep in my bedroom. There was no one else. And the bedrooms were very spread out. So every night he used to smash the meat safe, take out the fruits, open the fridge, take out all the mithai. And I mean, this was, for me, it was really like funny and sad. And it was...
Burning man.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a friend of mine, and when she got to know that I am here, she asked me to ask you a question. It is that how has your art affected your work and vice versa?
Art?
Yes, sir.
I'm not really that much of an artist. I've just commissioned an artist to do some paintings for me. But yes, I had one conflict in my art life that I also painted nudes and horses, and so did Hussein. And we both ended up exhibiting at the same gallery. And Hussein said, either he exhibits or I exhibit. I was the only person doing, I think I'm maybe still the only person doing wildlife and knife. My paint was a knife.
Okay, knife painting, yeah.
And so the gallery said, yeah, sorry, Sumer, Hussein.
But did you meet him, sir? MF Hussain?
Yeah.
So how was he like a person?
He gave
I mean, you're the first person जिसको मैं मिला हूँ who has met him. And
He
it's
did a painting in Sanawar when his son was in Sanawar. And then he wanted it back. But I said, forget it, you're not getting it back. So I didn't get it back.
Sir, did you have any fear in your life?
Everyone has fear.
I would like to know the biggest one.
Fear?
Yes, sir. Biggest fear you have ever had, and have you
I think the
conquered it?
biggest fear I have not conquered it. The biggest fear I have is when I have to talk to a girl. I'm very scared.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for doing this.